The only 5 exercises you need to strengthen your glutes after 50. Do you know the main reason why people over 50 lose their independence? It is not the heart, it is not memory. It is the legs and, more specifically, weak glutes. When the largest muscle in the human body weakens, the entire structure pays the price. Overloaded knees, unstable spine, compromised balance. A study from the University of Delaware found that weakness in the gluteus medius is present in more than 80% of patients with chronic lower back pain. And yet, strengthening this region remains one of the most neglected habits among people over 50, especially men. That is why today you will learn 5 scientific reasons why your glutes need attention right now, and the 5 exercises you need to strengthen them after 50 at home without any gym equipment. Before we continue, please tell us through the comments your name and the city from which you are watching our content. We would love to know. Reason number 1. Reduced risk of hip and groin injuries. The hip is a joint extraordinarily dependent on the surrounding musculature to function in a healthy and pain-free way. The glutes, divided into the gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and gluteus minimus, form the largest part of the hip-stabilizing musculature, controlling rotation, abduction, and extension of the lower limb. When they are weak, the joint is exposed to irregular forces that accelerate cartilage wear, potentially leading to conditions such as hip osteoarthritis, femoroacetabular impingement syndrome, and labral tears. After 50, these conditions become increasingly common and frequently culminate in surgeries such as total hip replacement. What many people do not know is that keeping the glutes strong is one of the best preventive strategies available against this outcome. They function as an active protection system, redistributing mechanical loads and keeping the femoral head well centered in the acetabulum during movement. Without this muscular support, every step, every squat, and every stair climb puts the joint at risk. The stabilizing function of the gluteus maximus, in particular, is fundamental to preserving hip integrity during high-demand activities. Think of them as the shock absorbers of your hip. When they are well calibrated, the system runs smoothly. When they are worn down, the entire structure suffers the consequences. Reason number 2. Improved circulation and cardiovascular health. The glutes are deeply vascularized muscles, and when trained regularly, promote circulatory adaptations of great clinical relevance. Exercise that recruits large muscle groups, as is the case with the gluteus maximus, forces the heart to work more intensely to meet the oxygen demand, generating progressive cardiovascular adaptations. These include a reduction in resting blood pressure, an increase in stroke volume, and a marked improvement in insulin sensitivity. For people over 50 who face a higher risk of hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease, these benefits are directly relevant to quality and life expectancy. But there is also a lesser-known mechanism that deserves attention. The rhythmic contraction of the large leg and glute muscles during exercise acts as an auxiliary pump for venous return, helping to push blood back to the heart against gravity. This effect reduces blood pooling in the lower extremities and decreases the risk of varicose veins, edema, and deep vein thrombosis, conditions that affect a significant portion of the population after 50. Training your glutes is, therefore, also a form of care for your heart and circulatory system as a whole. Reason number 3. Fall prevention and greater safety when walking. With every step you take, your body is balanced on just one leg for a fraction of a second. In that critical moment, it is the gluteus medius that prevents the pelvis from dropping to the opposite side, maintaining balance and upright posture during movement. When this muscle is weak, what physical therapists call the Trendelenburg sign develops, a lateral tilt of the pelvis with each step, creating an unstable gait and dramatically increasing the risk of stumbles and falls. After 50, falls are one of the leading causes of serious fractures, prolonged hospitalizations, and permanent loss of independence. Data from the World Health Organization indicate that falls are the second leading cause of unintentional injury deaths worldwide, and adults over 65 represent the most affected group. Strengthening the glutes improves proprioception, reaction speed to unexpected imbalances, and confidence when walking on uneven surfaces such as cracked sidewalks, wet floors, or irregular terrain. It is literally an investment in autonomy and safety for the rest of your life. Have you ever imagined the impact a single fall could have on your routine and independence? Reason number 4. Greater knee stability. The glutes, especially the gluteus medius, control femoral alignment during any weight-bearing movement, such as walking, climbing stairs, or squatting. When this musculature is weak, the knee tends to collapse inward during these movements, a phenomenon called dynamic valgus. This position creates asymmetric compression on the patellar cartilage and menisci, accelerating joint wear and increasing the risk of inflammation and injury. After 50, cartilage has already lost part of its regenerative capacity, making this protection even more critical than in previous decades. Strong glutes function as an active shock absorption system, distributing impact forces more evenly throughout the knee joint. This reduces pain, decreases inflammation, and slows the progression of conditions such as osteoarthritis. Many people who report chronic knee pain experience significant improvement simply after strengthening their glutes, with no other intervention. It is one of the most documented relationships in modern orthopedic physical therapy. The explanation is straightforward. The problem was one level up, not in the knee itself. Reason number 5, greater energy expenditure at rest. The gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the human body, and 99% of people do not even know that. Like all muscles, it consumes energy simply by existing, even at rest. The larger and more developed this muscle mass, the higher your basal metabolic rate, meaning the more calories you burn without doing anything at all. After 50, metabolism naturally slows down due to age-related loss of muscle mass, a process called sarcopenia. This loss can reach 3 to 8% per decade starting from age 30 and accelerates significantly after 60. Training the glutes is one of the most efficient ways to combat this metabolic decline precisely because of the size of the muscle involved. It is estimated that each pound of additional muscle burns between 6 and 9 extra calories per day at rest. It is also worth mentioning the EPOC effect, which stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Exercises that recruit the gluteus maximus elevate metabolism for hours after the workout, not just during it. Accumulated over time, this represents an enormous difference in body composition. For people over 50 who struggle with progressive fat gain, developing the glutes is a smart and long-term metabolic strategy. Now that you know the 5 reasons why your glutes deserve attention, let us move on to the exercises that will make a difference in practice. Exercise number 1, elevated glute bridge. The elevated glute bridge is a natural progression of the traditional bridge and deserves a prominent place in any strengthening routine after 50. The elevated version is performed with the feet resting on a surface 12 to 20 inches high, such as a sturdy bench, a couch, or a stable chair. This elevation increases the range of motion and places the gluteus maximus under greater stretch before contraction, generating superior muscular stimulus compared to the conventional floor version. For people over 50, this is an intelligent way to intensify the exercise without adding external weight, respecting joint limits, and reducing stress on the lower back. The position also recruits the hamstring muscles more intensely, creating an integrated workout for the entire posterior chain. To perform it correctly, lie on your back on the floor and rest your feet completely on the elevated surface, with your knees bent at approximately 90 degrees. Press your heels firmly against the surface and raise your hips by contracting your glutes with maximum force at the top of the movement, holding the position for 2 to 3 seconds before lowering in a controlled manner. The core should remain engaged throughout the movement to protect the lower back, and the hips should form a straight line with the knees and shoulders at the highest point. A valuable tip: imagine you are trying to leave an imprint of your heel on the elevated surface. This mental cue increases hamstring and glute recruitment simultaneously, making the exercise even more efficient. The main errors to avoid are raising the hips using the lower back instead of the glutes, not holding the contraction at the top, letting the knees fall inward during the movement, and pressing through the entire foot instead of focusing pressure through the heels. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions with 60 to 90 seconds of rest between them. Regarding contraindications, people with acute knee pain or patellar instability should reduce the height of the surface or opt for the floor version until greater joint stability is achieved. Before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Having constant access to science-based information is what will help you progress with long-term health in the world of exercise. Exercise number 2, reverse lunge. The reverse lunge is one of the hidden gems of functional functional training for those over 50. Unlike the traditional lunge, where the step is taken forward, in this variation, the movement is performed backward. This simple change in direction completely transforms the joint stress profile of the exercise. In the conventional lunge, the front knee receives a large impact load at the moment of contact. In the reverse lunge, this impact is drastically reduced because the back foot lands with more control, and the front knee does not suffer the same abrupt deceleration. This is why physical therapists frequently use the reverse lunge as a rehabilitation protocol for patients with patellar chondromalacia, mild osteoarthritis, and a history of anterior knee pain. To perform it correctly, stand with your feet hip-width apart and your arms alongside your body, or with your hands on your hips for greater balance. With one leg, step backward until the back knee is close to the floor without touching it, while the front knee remains aligned with the second toe, without going too far past the tip of the foot. Press the heel of the front leg to return to the starting position, consciously activating the glute at that moment. Keep the torso upright throughout the movement and avoid leaning forward. A bonus tip is to lightly hold onto a chair or wall during the learning phase, abandoning the support as balance improves. The main errors to avoid are letting the front knee collapse inward, leaning the torso excessively forward, taking steps that are too short and limit the range of motion, and descending in an uncontrolled manner without muscular tension. Perform 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions per leg, alternating sides, or completing all repetitions on one side before switching. Regarding contraindications, people with acute knee pain, recent lower limb surgery, or severe imbalance should perform the exercise with support or temporarily replace it with the glute bridge until greater stability is achieved. Exercise number 3, Sumo squat. The sumo squat is one of the most functional and accessible variations of the traditional squat, and the wide foot stance that defines this exercise completely changes the distribution of muscular work. With the feet positioned considerably wider than shoulder width apart and the toes pointing outward at approximately 45 degrees, the exercise shifts greater emphasis to the glutes and the inner thigh adductor muscles while simultaneously reducing the load on the knees. For people over 50 with ankle mobility limitations or a history of knee pain, the sumo squat often becomes more comfortable and safer than the conventional squat, precisely because of this redistribution of load. To perform it correctly, position your feet considerably wider than shoulder width apart, with the toes pointing outward. Keep the torso upright, press the hips slightly back, and descend by bending the knees in the direction of the toes, without the knees going too far past the tips of the feet. Descend until the thighs are parallel to the floor, or as close to that as possible within a comfortable joint range. When rising, press the heels into the floor and intensely contract the glutes, as if you were trying to bring the thighs together without moving the feet. This contraction cue is what differentiates a well-executed sumo squat from a squat that activates the glutes very little. The main errors to avoid are letting the knees collapse inward during the descent or ascent, rounding the lower back at the lowest point of the movement, lifting the heels off the floor, and rising with the torso leaning forward instead of upright. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions with 90 seconds of rest between them. Regarding contraindications, people with advanced hip osteoarthritis or severe mobility limitations in the hip joint should adapt the depth of the movement or consult a health professional before including this exercise in their routine. Exercise number 4, step up. The beauty of the step up lies in its ability to accurately reproduce movements you perform every day. Climbing stairs, getting onto a bus, stepping up onto a high curb, all of this is essentially a step up. And when you train this movement in a controlled and progressive way, you are directly developing functional strength that translates into greater safety, independence, and efficiency in daily activities. Unlike a bilateral squat, the step up works each leg independently, which makes it especially valuable for identifying and correcting muscular imbalances between both sides of the body. To perform it correctly, stand facing a sturdy bench or step 16 to 20 inches high. Place one foot completely on the elevated surface, ensuring the heel is well supported, and press that heel against the bench to drive the body upward. The lower leg should make light contact with the step at the top without transferring real weight to it. Descend slowly, and in a controlled manner, maintaining tension in the glute of the working leg throughout the descent. This controlled eccentric phase is where much of the muscular adaptation occurs and should not be neglected. The main errors to avoid are pushing with the back leg to go up, which transfers the work away from the glute of the primary leg, leaning the torso excessively forward, letting the knee collapse inward during the ascent or descent, and using a platform that is too low and reduces glute recruitment. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions per leg with 60 to 90 seconds of rest. Regarding contraindications, people with severe ankle or knee instability should start with a lower height, between 8 and 12 inches, and progress gradually as balance and strength improve. Exercise number 5, donkey kick. The donkey kick is an exercise that, despite its unglamorous name, plays an irreplaceable role in developing the mind-muscle connection with the gluteus maximus. And this connection is more important than most people realize. Many individuals over 50 present what is known in physical therapy as gluteal inhibition, a situation in which the muscle simply does not activate with the necessary intensity even during exercises that should recruit it. This happens due to years of sedentary behavior, prolonged sitting posture, and a lack of specific stimulus. To perform it correctly, position yourself on all fours with your hands directly below your shoulders and your knees directly below your hips. Keep the core engaged and the spine in a neutral position without arching or rounding the lower back. With the knee bent at 90 degrees, raise one leg back and upward as if you were pushing the ceiling with the sole of your foot. Continue the movement until you feel maximum contraction in the glute, which generally occurs when the thigh is parallel to the floor. Hold the contraction for 1 second at the highest point and descend without completely touching the knee to the floor, maintaining tension throughout the entire set. The main errors to avoid are arching the lower back to raise the leg higher, which removes the work from the glute and places pressure on the spine, using momentum instead of controlled muscular contraction, rotating the hip to the side during the movement, and losing the neutral spine position throughout the repetitions. Perform 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions per leg, alternating sides each set. Regarding contraindications, people with acute wrist pain or carpal tunnel syndrome can replace the all-fours position with a forearm support position, which reduces pressure on the hand joints without compromising the effectiveness of the exercise. If you enjoyed this and also want to discover the best isometric exercises you can do for your legs, we have a video appearing on screen right now showing each one of them in detail. Make sure to check it out. Thank you for watching until the end, and God bless you, my friend.